All right, what's good, Knicks Nation? Welcome back to another episode of Knicks Weekly, episode 77, where we discuss everything that from the week that was, the good, the bad, the ugly, all that in full detail. And with me today to help get the full breakdown of what we saw this past week and what we can see moving forward is none other than our guy CK2K on the other side. Tonight we're taking calls only by the Discord. And also remember to support our sponsor, BetUS, the official sports book for KnicksFanTV for the 2023 NBA season. CK, my man, what's going on, bro? How you doing today?
What's good, bro? What's good? I'm good. Rough week of Knicks basketball in the past, and hopefully things turn around this week, man.
I like that response, CK.
You know what I mean?
To the point, direct. We all know what it was. We don't need to go We don't need to go into full-on stories of what we saw and all of that nonsense. But hey, we're gonna do that anyway. We're gonna break it all down, CK. We're gonna. Too bad you can't get off the hook that easy. All right. So this week, the New York Knicks faced the Cleveland Cavaliers twice, back-to-back games, and they also had the Milwaukee Bucks for the first game of the in-season tournament. So the Knicks ended this week being 1-2. I thought they would go 2-1. I thought they could defeat a shorthanded Cavs team twice and then call it a day. But clearly that was not the case. So what did you think of the games that we watched this week, CK?
Which answer you want? You want the answer that will be good for the sound bites, or you want my actual feelings on how the basketball we had to watch the past week?
CK. This
is because
the people tune in because they want the honest truth here. Okay,
I just have to make sure I ask these questions because you know what I mean. It was really, really rough basketball. I would say it's nice to know that at least we were in the games. But to me, to lose a Cleveland Cavalier game to a team that just obviously is not all their missing key players, and we had one dude show up when we expect both of our all-stars to show up, that was frustrating. And then I try to shake that off, be like, it can't get any worse than that. Alex, it got worse than that against the Milwaukee Bucks. It was supposed to be the first game of this inaugural in-season tournament that the NBA is trying to gas up. So much so that the same guy I'm expecting to show up in this game is in the commercial. Doesn't do that. And we had to deal with that on Friday. And it's just been a wild and wacky, crazy week of basketball. I'm not trying to hang my hat and think that this is going to be our season in a nutshell, but it's kind of scary to know that our all-star leader in sorts is having a rough start to the season. I'm sure we're going to talk about that in some depth today, buddy.
Oh, for sure. We're going to talk about one Julius Randle in depth. But yeah, man, when you look back at this week, it was a rough week. And when you look at the week ahead, man, I am just shocked at how many back-to-back games the NBA has given us. It's actually insane. Dude, first of all, we got not only do we have Atlanta and New Orleans back-to-back, you got the Cavs back-to-back. We have Charlotte and Boston this upcoming weekend back-to-back. The following week, we got Washington, the other in-season tournament game, and Charlotte back-to-back. And I'm just like, I'm looking at this and I'm like, can y'all stop? Can y'all stop giving us back-to-backs at this point? This team is not ready for back-to-backs to open up, and we need a break. But I'm not thrilled with what we saw this past week, especially against a shorthanded Cavs team. That second loss really hurts because actually, you know what? They both hurt because in both games, both teams were handing the Knicks the win, and the Knicks just could not capitalize and just either maintain the lead or just hit their shots. And it's not just, it's been a mixed bag between having Brunson start off this week because he's been either on or off. We also didn't have RJ against Cleveland, and you see that we're missing our most consistent scorer, which is funny to say that he's been our most consistent scorer to start off the season. This is quite a world that we're in. And then you have Julius Randle, our all-NBA, all-star power forward, who has just been in a funk and can't seem to figure out how to get himself out of a funk early this season. And when you don't have Brunson or Randle being efficient with their shots, it really throws things off. But even when you have Brunson, like how he dropped 45 points against the Bucks, you still need somebody else to show up. And look, CP and I dissected that game where it's like Quickly should have gotten more minutes. You know, he was another guy who was just starting to score in that second half. And it's like, for me at least, why don't you give him a shot? Because we needed some offense. And that was the other guy outside of Brunson, considering that Grimes went cold and didn't get enough touches in the second half. But why wouldn't we just go with somebody? Why would we just stick with defense when, yes, we've been strong to start off the season defensively. We're top 5 by defensive rating. But when you look at the offensive rating, we're in the basement. And we can't have that as a team that is now turning the ball over, not protecting the rock as we were last season. We're still getting the rebounds thanks to Mitchell Robinson, who's just been dominant on the boards. But that doesn't matter if we can't just hit shots or we can't get putbacks because you got 3 guys just crowding him in the paint. And it's like, well, no one else can shoot. So if they're going to expect Mitch to go put it back up, we're not going to allow that. So it's been quite a struggle this week, and hopefully they can, bounce back this week. But it's not going to be an easy week either for this upcoming slate. But it's been a big smack, man. I haven't been thrilled with. I haven't been thrilled with this week. I guess the only one of the very few good things that you could take away from this past week is this: Mitchell Robinson is looking strong on the glass. Okay, so I'm going to give kudos to that. I think defensively he's been strong outside of KP, and Brook Lopez dropping some, knocking down some threes. When you watched him defend Giannis or Brook in the paint, Mitch held his own, man. Yeah, and so that's encouraging to me. Quickly, even though he had a poor game against New Orleans, I thought he started to show up this week. We definitely saw him against Cleveland show up both games in the second half. And then even in Milwaukee, he started to get cooking, just didn't get enough time. Right. Brunson, I like that. I got to see Brunson drop 45 points against Milwaukee because he's just been struggling this week. And I hope because a game like that, when you are able to take advantage of one of the worst defenses in the league, which that being Milwaukee, I like that he was able to get to his spots, and hopefully that helps him get into rhythm moving forward. So for me, I could take those things away from what we've watched this from like early on in the season, especially this past week, and say, hey, you know what? At least these guys are here. What the Knicks just need to do is start hitting shots and get into a rhythm, because with the defense that they're playing right now, like, we're holding teams in check. It's not like teams are just blowing the doors open and just taking and just running the numbers up against the Knicks. That's not the case here. It's that we're losing games by small margins because we legitimately cannot hit shots. And I guess that's another thing I could take away from this past week, because that trend just continues. So Knicks just need to start hitting shots, man. That's just my thing overall.
Yeah, I mean that's a given. I want to circle back to what you're saying about Jalen Brunson and his start. It was shaky at first up until obviously that Milwaukee game. But with him, I feel like a lot of us we weren't there. There's no worry in his start and how his game was, because even though Jalen Brunson was not hitting his shots, they were still high percentage Jalen Brunson type shots. So it's not like he's trying to do anything out of the ordinary, and he wasn't trying to do something he's not, or not shoot at all because the shot wasn't going down. So I think that Milwaukee game, and even if he does have another slow game tomorrow, I feel like I'm not worried about Jalen Brunson as the season goes on, unlike the our actual former All-Star, where it just feels like we're getting different Julius Randle this game and that game. And I'm not going to sit here and just go ahead and bash on him, because we've been doing that for the entire week, and hopefully we don't have to do that for another week. But it's like, which Randle are we going to get? Because we were singing his praises that second game of the season, because we saw him turn into Lamar Odom, where it's like, he was, when the shot wasn't hitting in the first half, again, oh my goodness, it was our second game of the season. We played Boston, and then we played my brain. Thank you, Atlanta. In the Atlanta game, where the shot wasn't hitting, but then we saw him facilitating, we saw him rebound, we saw him pushing the pace, we saw a version of Julius Randle where it's like, all right, the shot's not going down, but we're seeing him mature and try and get everyone else going. Then that went out the window. We never saw that again. So it's one of those things where it's like we're seeing the slow starts from these guys, but on one end with Jalen Brunson, I'm not worried, and on the other end, I still don't know what to expect from Julius Randle. So hopefully the internet has, how Knicks Twitter and Knicks fans can be. hopefully the internet has bullied him into understanding that, it's time to start playing basketball for reals. And we'll see a completely different guy come Los Angeles, because I understand it's going to be Harden's first game and there's probably going to be a lot of chemistry issues and this, that, and the third. But it very easily, especially with how Paul George has started, with how Kawhi's looked defensively, it could easily be another nightmare game for us, and I'm hoping that Julius Randle is able to turn it around, because we need him to, especially since RJ is questionable, even though we were hearing good news earlier that he was supposed to be playing. Now he's questionable again, so we need him to turn it around.
Look, man, Tibbs is just a game. He likes to do his gamesmanship, man.
I hate it.
I know. Hopefully RJ does play tomorrow, because we do need RJ back. But
yeah,
I don't want to talk about the Clippers right now, man. It's too early. That's for the end. That's for the look ahead. I don't want to discuss that right now. I don't want to think about that. I just did the game of the week preview. So if you haven't catch the game of the week preview, we had Wall Murray of The Athletic on. So make sure to go check out that show that dropped earlier today at 6:30. So if you want to get yourself ready for tomorrow's game for the Knicks versus the Clippers, that's our game of the week. Make sure to go check it out. But CK, I got to talk to you about this stat that shout out to Jonathan Macri of Knicks Film School and to the guys over at Knicks Film School. Macri tweeted this today. He said, "Your fun fact of the day, courtesy of Cleaning the Glass. Not only are the Knicks last in field goal percentage at the rim, but the gap between them and the 29th ranked Pistons is larger than the gap between the Detroit and 15th ranked Indy. Four Knicks are in the bottom 10% for their position in rim field goal percentage." Oh boy. What are your thoughts about seeing that stat, CK?
It checks out. I don't know what else you want me to say with that. Yeah, the stat makes sense. Our team looks like that stat. And yeah, it should be a little worrisome. Honestly, it's earlier on in the game. Like we said, as you were mentioning, we have not been hitting shots. Key guys have not been hitting shots consistently. From IQ, we had the one version of him in New Orleans. We had another version in Milwaukee. Same for Brunson. So shots are just not going down. But to hear that margin, the difference in margin, that part right there is probably the craziest part of that entire stat. I expect it to change as the year goes on, but we honestly got to figure out what kind of team we are offensively. I feel like we've seen 3 different versions of the New York Knicks offensively, and depending on the lineup, we're a fast-paced, ball-pushing team. Depending on the other lineup, we are isolating, ball-stopping, half-court attempting team. And then on the other side, we're a well-oiled machine. So it's until we figure out what our identity is offensively, we're gonna be chilling down there in that margin. Hopefully, we can slowly climb up and get a little bit closer. But until we figure out what our offense is gonna be and what our identity is, I'm not surprised by that stat at all.
So here are the 4 Knicks that are in the bottom 4 percentage, bottom 10% of their position in rim field goal percentage. It is Dante DiVincenzo, who is in the 8th percentile amongst wings. We also have Emmanuel Quickley, who is in the 6th percentile amongst combo guards. We also have Mitchell Robinson, which is shocking because this is newfound territory for Mitchell Robinson. But that also goes back to what I was saying. Like, dude is just getting swarmed at the rim because it's like, oh, if no one's going to be making shots, we're not going to allow Mitch to get an easy putback. And also, we just haven't been finding Mitch for a lob. So that's also been tough. And we can go leading into the man that is Mitch is, by the way, 0 percentile. And here's another man that is in the 0 percentile. One Julius Randle.
What?
Yeah, he's finishing 17% around the rim right now amongst forwards, and that's not shocking, man. And so let's transition into this Julius Randle conversation, because has been.
I don't want to cut you off. Do you have the numbers in front of you, or did you just have those stats for our players and that's it? Because if that's the case, that's fine. I just want to know if there was any other all-star level players that are hanging out at that same percentile with Julius Randle. That was just my only question. If you don't know, it's completely fine. But I hope somebody in the chat can figure that out and send it to us in the future, because that is crazy to me. But we move. Go ahead, continue. I'm so sorry.
I could find those stats right now. I also do not want to upset myself or anybody else.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why you want me to do that, but
yeah.
Now that you asked, CK, now I got to go find this out for myself, because these are questions that we need answers to. So let's see if I can find that. But anyway, moving forward.
Sorry.
Julius Randle has been struggling to start the season. It is obvious as day. And to answer your question, I guess Karl Anthony Towns right now, if we're talking about percentage around the rim, he is in the second percentile. So that's somebody. You got LaMelo Ball, who's 0. You got Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, who are lower than that. So, still early.
Yeah, it's early. Yeah.
If you're asking for who's finishing around the rim, who's in like the bottom 10, those are the most notable guys next to Cole Anthony, Rudy Gobert.
No, they don't. No. Nope. You answered my question. Thank you. That's all I need to know. Appreciate
you. There you go. So there's your answer. But anyway.
Yeah.
Julius has been struggling. We see it. It's clear as day. If you just tune into any Knicks game, you could see it. And point blank, he cannot be this way because without him, based on how this team is constructed and based on how the offense is ran, we need him because he is our second best isolation basketball player. This team is very ISO heavy driven. When you have Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle as your two guys, and for a Tom Thibodeau offense that really is looking for your two best players who can just create, because that puts a lot of pressure on the defense, right? That's the theory. Like, you have two guys that's very difficult to contain because they can create their own shot anywhere on the court. It's supposed to open up shots for everybody else. Well, the only issue is that there's limited ball movement and it slows a lot of things down. It allows the defense to stay still. And as we saw against the Bucks, the Cavs, any other team that we've played so far, if Julius Randle's not hitting his shots, everybody else can just kind of stay home on the court because we're not this off-ball movement team like the Warriors, the Kings, whatever other team you want to throw in there. That's just not how this team is ran. And so if Randle's not hitting his shots, it craters what the Knicks are capable of doing. And it impacts not only Brunson, but as we said, it impacts Mitchell Robinson. It impacts guys like Grimes. Impacts a lot of other players on the team because now you're asking guys who aren't necessarily creators to figure out how to get their own shot. And if a team can just say, you know what, we can just sag off the three-point line because Julius is not going to hit a three-pointer, and we know he wants to drive. And then he, as he already talked about when Ian Begley reported it, saying that the paint is packed, it's just crowded. Well, part of it's crowded because he's not shooting well. Right. So with Randle's struggle, the Knicks haven't been able to get into any offensive rhythm. Granted, like I said, Brunson's struggling. You got other players who've been on and off. No one's really clicking on all gears. And part of me is just like, if we talked about any other team, right, and we saw players struggling, we'd be like, it's still early in the season. You got to give it time. But because we cover the Knicks, and we love this team and we're so invested in this team and we just know the trauma that comes with covering this team and watching this team regularly and not making the playoffs. And we've also seen with Julius Randle that he hasn't had while he's been here consistent back-to-back years of solid production. Seeing him struggle this early just gives you it's like those signs are like, are we really getting an off-year Randle right now? And those are the big concerns because I think if it was like any other player, it's like, it's still early in the season, nothing to worry about. But because Julius hasn't put together consistent back-to-back years, it's kind of, it sets your antennas up, right? You're just on alert, like what's going to happen.
Right. Yeah. Look, man, and the conspiracy about what's it called, the odd number years with Julius Randle. So that's another thing too that people are trying to play around with and talk about. But yeah, I think the biggest point that you brought up is just that spotlight that us Knicks fans are gonna put on them, and unfortunately, not only is the spotlight going to be brighter because we are Knicks fans and because of the popularity of the team, but we're running out of time with a lot of what we got as far as, we're talking about extensions with coaches. We're talking about extensions, with him and, with Jalen Brunson's contract, ages and all that kind of stuff. So for Julius Randle to, this early on, all the hype that was going into the season, have the start that he has right now, I feel like that is what is just, just putting so much pressure onto Julius Randle, and rightfully so. If you're going to be an all-star, two-time all-star, all-NBA player, this and the third, I think it's deservedly so. I don't think that there's no we need to sugarcoat anything with him. You're an all NBA player, all-star player, level player in 6 games. To have these historically low numbers, it's bad, and it's going to be talked about. The fact that now we got ESPN calling you out and throwing up clips that we talk about on this show or on Twitter and Spaces and stuff like that. Now it's on a national website for casuals to see. It's bad, and I feel like it's definitely right for us to try and push to get a better product out of Julius Randle. And if it means that some people want him gone and whatever, it is what it is. Do something about it. That's my thing. You're Julius Randle. You've been an all-star. You've been all NBA. I'm gonna keep saying it because people think that we don't actually pay attention to the fact that he's done good things for us. And they think that we just hate on him because we want to hate on him. No, we get that he does those things, but at the same time, if you're doing those things, we're talking about the percentile that you're in and your ineffectiveness. We gonna say what we gonna say. So, like I said, with Julius Randle, it's yes, it's one thing for us to put him in that microscope, but it's also you can't have a start like this, especially when, as you mentioned, we're such an ISO heavy team, and you're the number 1 ISO guy. You gotta turn around a lot quicker than he's turning around right now, and we're about to hit some key games, as you mentioned early, and we can't have any more slump games from Julius Randle. We just can't.
Just can't, man. It's just plain and simple. We cannot, because and I think the bigger thing that is like what's more alarming is that, and we've talked about it on other shows, is that we've gone into the season knowing that consistency was a big thing. Consistency. And like when you think of consistency, it's like, okay, so that means you should hit the ground running. That means we should be ahead of the curve because we're a consistent team. And then when you start seeing that we're not necessarily behind the 8 ball, because I think like the Memphis Grizzlies are behind the 8 ball. When you haven't won a game, that's behind the 8 ball, because now you're asking for that team, especially without John Morant. Now you really have to come back and get yourself into position if you're thinking about a playoff push. The East, the thing about the East is that it's weaker than the West. The West is just it's so loaded with talent that it's much more competitive. So that's why for a team like the Grizzlies, every loss gets magnified, right? For the Knicks, the East it's still kind of a toss-up with what could happen, and like they're still, in my eyes, they're still a playoff team, because one is still too early in the season.
Too soon.
Things can change very quickly. So I'm not one that's like throwing the panic button, but hitting the panic button. But it is frustrating watching a guy that who had a fantastic season last year, who's had a fantastic season, whose second year on this team is just struggling. And I get everyone's gonna be like, well, he's coming back from ankle surgery, he's coming back from doing this. Well, it's like, I get all of that. Totally get all of that. I get that. Like, no, like if you want to talk about, like, Richard Jefferson's like, look, it takes some time to get your legs back under you to knock down your shots. And Randle, he's a tough shot maker. Most of the shots that he takes are very difficult. It's not like, oh, I'm cutting to the basket, here's an easy layup. It's not like, oh, you know what? I'm going to drive consistently to the rack and draw fouls, which he should be doing, because the tough shots that he's doing is a lot of fadeaway jumpers and stuff like that, sidestepping, and it's great when you're knocking him down. It's awesome. But when you're trying to take difficult shots and you're not hitting them, and they are out of rhythm and they're out of sync, right? Then it's much more noticeable.
Yes.
So that's just the thing. And what I would like to see him do is get to the rim more, because as we saw against the Bucks and even against the Cavs, when he gets downhill, he can draw the contact, get to the free throw line. And that's what he needs to do, in my opinion, to get back into rhythm. Just start seeing the ball fall through the net, right? And he's not doing that, one. And he's also struggling doing that, but it's also like difficult shots he's taking around the rim. But thanks to the guys over at the Strickland, here's the stats for Julius Randle. Randle's field goal percentage from 0 to 3 feet by the years. First year, 63% from 2019 to 2020. 2020 to 2021, 66%. 21 to 22, 63%. Last year, 68%. Right now, a measly 7%.
Yep.
Now, I see this number and I'm like, that's horrendous, right? I think anybody would agree with that. Like 7% around the rim is just god awful. And for me, it's like, I want to see him attack the rim more because, and I'm pulling up the numbers right now, he's not attacking the rim as much as he should to get back in rhythm. No. And I think he's just settling for shots. And it's like, even the other game, he took 20 shots, 9 of them were threes, and he only made 1. I'm like, why are you taking 9 threes? Why? Like,
in 0 free throw attempts. Don't forget that part, Alex. 0 free throw attempts.
No free throw attempts. Yep. And it's like, why are you taking 9 threes? Like, you have to get into some sort of rhythm. And like, why are you settling for jumpers? That just shouldn't be your game. Like, you're a guy who is like you're a freight train. Like, you get downhill, no one's really stopping you. There's very few players that can stop you. And for me, I feel like that's just one thing he should be doing in order to get back into rhythm.
Yep. I mean, that's 101, 100%. Shots not falling, you got to find other ways to get the ball in the hoop. And especially when you're a player like Julius Randle, typically that's, driving to the basket. So I'm 1,000% with you, especially when we've seen some crazy switching going on with him. So the matchups have always been favorable for him, and he never really attacks them. It's been confusing. That 7%. The positive I'll say is the positive with those numbers is those other percentages were after a full season. 7% is only after 6 games. So I'll give him that.
You'll give him that.
I can say good things to about Julius. All right, I don't want to hear it. All right, there you go. There's a positive.
I'm just trying to find how many attempts he's taking at the rim, because typically he's a guy who's attempting like 10 drives to the basket.
He can't be at that right now, can he?
No, there's no way.
There's no way.
I'm trying to look for it too, and I don't know why I can't find it right now. So NBA.com. Fix your website. I don't know why you had to change it. All right. As I'm trying to look for this, Randle has been struggling at the rim, but the one thing I do want to say is that his shooting percentage is also just down, right? He's shooting 27% at the not at the rim, sorry, just from the field. Shooting 27%. 27%. It's incredibly low, and for a guy last season who started off last year through 6 games shooting 43%, that's why it's like even more. It's more baffling. Like, even the 6 games that he started last season, they were like not the greatest, but this has just been downright awful. So, CK, I got a question for you, and I got a question for everyone in the chat. I got everyone tuning in right now. Shout out to the New York Post writer Mike Vaccaro, and he suggested that New Yorkers maybe should start cheering for struggling stars instead of booing. So, and I quote, he wrote, "Might it be time for the Knicks fans to start chanting Julius Randle Monday night against the Knicks when the Knicks host the Clippers?" So, I'm going to ask you, CK, is this the recipe to get Randle back on track?
I thought this was a fake tweet when I saw this. I didn't think this was real. I felt like this was like a release script to a new YMCA commercial. I didn't believe this when I read this, bro. Here's the thing. I watched Julius Randle get booed, get called every name in a Knicks jersey, and in the following game, I cannot off the top of my head remember exactly how many points, but he went on a crazy run, scored a lot of points, leading in a win after giving us a thumbs down. Julius Randle, if anything, attitude, everything aside, Julius Randle, whether we cheer him on, whether we boo him, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Julius Randle will be able to turn it around regardless if we are throwing flowers and just putting all the positive energy out there on Twitter and on Instagram saying, no, don't worry, our king's going to turn it around. Nah, I don't think it's going to make a difference. If anything, I think that's going to condone his behavior, and he's going to keep doing this knowing that we don't care. RJ Barrett last season went through so much hell and still averaged 20 points behind Jalen Brunson and Julius Randle. And then on top of that was our second best player in the playoff and still got killed by everybody in the fan base and still went out there and produced. Then goes to play for Canada, was one of the better players for Canada and gets a bronze medal. Now he's having a great start to the season and he got killed last year. So we just supposed to, now all of a sudden just change up the rules on Julius Randle and hope that is what he needs is for us to be friendly and nice to him. Get that out of my face, Alex. Get it out of my face. My answer is no. I'm not going to start because look, I think Julius Randle is going to be fine. But at the same time, if you are a former All-Star, former All-NBA player, and you're playing like doo-doo, averaging 7% around the rim, you're not going to get no happy, oh, you got it, buddy, from me. Not from me. No. Turn it around. LeBron James is almost 40 years old. Check his stat line.
All right, I'm not going to go that far. Because that one's LeBron James, the other one's Julius Randle. Let's keep
my point is, I don't want excuses. What LeBron has all the excuses in the world to finally decline, and he chooses not to decline. What's Julius Randle's? He had a bum ankle. Figure it out and play the damn game of basketball, man. Make it easier for yourself. Pass the ball. Tibbs even called him out. Come on, man. Come on, man.
And Tibbs did call him out. By the way, I'm a little shocked at this. And I'm always happy to call myself wrong. Julius Randle's actually averaging 11.7 drives right now. He is right on target to how many drives he's averaging.
Even worse though, Alex. Huh? Oh, that's worse. You said he's taking the same amount of shots around the rim and he's averaging 7%, is what you said?
So he's driving around the same amount to get to the rim. And
that's not good.
Yeah.
I'd much rather him drive less.
33% off of drives.
Oh no, I don't like that.
Yeah, so
I don't like that.
He is still doing what he's asked to do, which is get downhill.
He sucks at it this year, I guess.
But look, I will say this. I'm not one to boo, but I'm also not one to cheer when someone's doing poorly either. So I'm not going to just start saying, okay, man, we got this. Yeah, woo. I might do that for my newborn son when he's playing rec league basketball. I'm like, you got this, bud. You got a champ. But I'm not going to do this for a grown man that is making millions of dollars who is getting paid to do this. I can't in good conscience go out there and be like, it's okay, buddy. You're going to knock down those oh, you just missed another one. Oh, it's okay, man. You got the next one. It's not necessarily because we're New Yorkers and that's just how we're ingrained, but it's also it's like, I don't know, if you're getting a bad product, you have the right, you're paying, right? If you're paying if you're paying to go and you're expecting a performance, right? And the performance isn't up to par, you have your right to go say how you feel about it. I think there's definitely crossing the line, but to just booing, whatever. I don't really care about booing, but when you start taking it to a whole other level, we talk about families and all these other things, threats and whatnot. You cross the line, get out of here. That's nasty work. Yeah. But you want to talk about booing because you don't like how a player is performing right now. I totally get that. So, I totally get that, but I'm not with the article. I'm like, should we just start cheering? I don't necessarily believe that's going to start changing anything. Okay. What's going to change is that he has to go out there and perform. And is there a pressure that when you don't perform that you start to feel the weight of the world on your shoulders? Absolutely. Does it feel 10 times heavier because it's New York and the Knicks jersey is one of the heaviest jerseys to wear? Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And he probably feels more pressure because his career in New York hasn't been consistent. It has been up and down. So there's even more added pressure to that because then what does it say about him as a player in a top in a top position, right? You're one of you're second best, you're the second option on this team. And if you've been here when you've been the number one option for the past couple of seasons, you're number 2 now next to Brunson, and you just show that you can't be consistent, and you have somebody like Brunson who's supposed to make your life easier, then there starts to be a question about who you are as a player and where do you fit amongst the NBA, right? I always say like Randle's a talented guy. Like the thing is like he has the talent. He has the capability of being a good player. It's, it's just can he consistently put it all together, which is decision making.
There it is.
And it's like does he have that awareness and understanding like not to press, right? Because there are times where he starts to press, and then things start to like go downhill. So that's my thing with Julius Randle. But you also noted that Tibbs calling him out, or I won't necessarily say calling him out, because if we look at the article, and Daniel, you can bring it up so that we can take a look at it. Let's take a look at this right here.
It was inadvertent, but
it's inadvertent.
Yeah, everything he was addressing pertains to
essentially. And if my computer actually loaded, it'd be really nice. But such as the internet nowadays, I have like a million tabs open to do this thing, so it's like it never loads, man.
That happens, yep.
Yeah, so it's like whenever you need to just be like, and here we go. Nope, not today.
That's not how it works.
No, never. It's like it's like trying to put your child down to take a nap, and you're like, oh, I can go do this at this time. Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's not happening. No,
that's not happening. But essentially, the quote is here by Thibodeau. Where is it? Here it is. So it starts off, you can't it starts off saying, it wasn't all scolding from Tom Thibodeau, rather an animated pep talk through the post-game presser. And though the coach refrained from naming Julius Randle, the questions were about the all-star, and the answers certainly applied. Tom Thibodeau says, you can't predetermine. You can't say, well, I haven't had a shot, so now I'm going to take a shot. The game tells you what to do, Thibodeau said. If you're open, you shoot. If there's guys around, you hit the open man. It's really simple. It's not hard. And, then Stephen Bondy goes in to talk about the fourth quarter and how Thibodeau is essentially talking about that play and the breaking it down.
Yeah.
And then as we go down, we also have the quote saying, when you look at their defense, what they are doing, they were collapsing, right? Thibodeau said they got 2 7-footers, so when they collapse, you have to trust the pass. Trust the pass. So he's breaking down the time where in the fourth quarter, Randle's driving. He sees Brook Lopez and Giannis Antetokounmpo in the paint, and instead of just taking the shot at the rim, Randle's supposed to be passing it out because that's the logical thing to do. And what's going on here is that Tibbs, essentially what Bondi's saying, this is the first time Tibbs has actually called out Randle, where we know it's like Randle just needs to take time to get into rhythm. He said that he started that this season. He rarely calls out. Actually, I don't even think he's ever called out Randle in any post-game presser since his time being here about decision-making or his play at all. But
ever.
What Bondi's getting at here is that the fact that Tibbs has finally grouped Randle into this like conversation, it's like, has Thibodeau finally ran out of excuses? Is Thibodeau now slowly trying to hold Randle accountable through the media for his decision-making? And I don't know. We've seen Tibbs be more direct in naming players. Not every player is the same and has the same mental to take criticism when coaches do presser. But
right.
What do you think, CK? Do you think this is Tibbs calling out Randle? What do you make of these comments based on Tibbs' presser?
I think Tibbs did a good job finding a way to talk about one of the big problems in our game against Milwaukee, with also having the underlying shot being pointed at Julius Randle. I don't think that it was a direct call out, as you were mentioning, but I think Tibbs knew what he was doing when he said what he said, because though it wasn't there were, for the most part, there was a lot of opportunities. I know you mentioned the one with Giannis, but there were also many other opportunities in games prior as well, where instead of making that extra pass, you would see Julius settle for shots that made no sense. So I feel like it was, as I was saying, it was an inadvertent shot, but it definitely was a shot nonetheless that I feel like Tibbs reluctantly put out there on Julius Randle. And here's the thing too. I know you read the quote, but there's also a video out about it. Tibbs was real, like it was really like how do I say this? He was really like stern with how he said it. It wasn't like he was just trying to try to get attention or try to get a reaction or whatever. Tibbs was like, it felt like he was talking about like how he talks with when RJ does something wrong or IQ does something wrong, when he says something like really straight up. Like he was really to the point with that take. And everybody can only help but think it had to do with Julius Randle, because he's probably the main culprit that did that. And you just laid out a full play that mirrors what Tom Thibodeau was talking about. So yeah, I think Tibbs just did a good job at finding a way to talk to his all-star through the media without having to say a name or without having to directly point it at him, because it's just a point in our game that we need to fix in general. So I think Tibbs was very he was on his chess game with that call out in the presser for sure. For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, and you know what, like, I agree with you where it's like it's a nice tailored way. I think it's definitely a nice tailored way of trying to communicate to your one of your all-stars on the roster and making sure that, hey, we understand you're in a slump. We understand that your shot's not falling right now. But as I was talking about, like, him getting downhill and trying to get to the free throw line is probably a better way of him contributing to this team than just taking tough jumpers.
For sure.
Tibbs is to also talk about, like, hey man, like, hit the open man. Like, you're not passing well. And this is a guy who started off the season passing well. We know the rebounding is going to be there, but keep your teammates involved. Like, you're not the guy tonight to lean on. So go lean on your teammates. They can, everyone's capable. Essentially what Tom Thibodeau is saying, everyone's capable, and they're not going to be capable if you don't keep them involved, right? You got to share the rock. And that's just going to be the biggest thing for Julius Randle, man. It's like, and it just comes back down to decision making and just the wherewithal of the game, man. And that's just kind of been that's been the issue with Julius Randle, man. Is, can he put it all together, and can he finally say, game in and game out, it's not me. I know who I need to get involved tonight. Can I make the right decisions? It's like what we discussed with RJ Barrett, right? It's like the last couple of seasons, like, dude, why are you being a battering ram going into like 3 defenders, trying to finish amongst 3 defenders where you have guys on the perimeter wide open? And then you see RJ to start the season kicking the ball out and like not doing it as much. And you're like, that's it. That's all we're asking for.
All we've been wanting, right?
That's all we're asking for. And the same thing has to apply. The same thing does apply to Julius. It doesn't have to. It does apply to Julius. So that's what we're just looking for. And that's what Tibbs is really just looking for out of Julius, to really just help him get into rhythm. But salute to the chat. Salute to everyone tuning in to Knicks Weekly, where we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. I'm your host, Alex Trataros. With me on the other side is none other than CK2K. We're here to answer your questions and discuss what we've seen from the New York Knicks to start this season. And we're also give you the look ahead. We're breaking down Julius Randle's first 6 games and what we've seen from him. But guys, before we continue this talk, there's something else we got to talk about here. We got to talk about our sponsor for tonight, which is BetUS. They are the official sports book for KnicksFanTV for the 2023 NBA season. It's one of the premier sports books out there. You can bet on all sports. Baseball's over, but don't worry, we still got the NFL and we still got basketball in season, and you got hockey that's going on as well. So if you're someone who likes to bet on sports, go to BetUS and you can place on any one of those sports. On top of that, they got all types of betting. So you don't have to be stuck to just one thing. You can do prop bets, you can do money lines. You can also do what is it? Why am I losing out on it? Spreads. You can bet on anything that you want. They also got some of the best and most reliable customer service, so you never have to worry about getting your money and getting your earnings to your bank account. Now, the good thing about it is that you can still place bets on the futures for the in-season tournament, and if the Knicks can still win the East. So make sure you can. So if you want to go there and place a bet down for that, you can do that as well. You can also place a bet on the Knicks tomorrow if you think they're going to beat the Clippers, if you think they're going to be within the point spread. BetUS is the way to go. So make sure to use the link in the video description to go sign up, and you get a bonus match of 125% on your deposit. So make sure to hit the link in the video description to go to BetUS, the official sports book for KFTV for the 2023 NBA season. All right.
Yes, sir.
Moving along, man. Moving along. All right. So as you mentioned, RJ Barrett is now going back to being questionable, even though he practiced today. I think he'll play tomorrow.
I think so too. Drama.
We need it tomorrow. What's been your thoughts, even though RJ's been out? What has been your takeaways from RJ Barrett so far to start the season?
I feel like he is definitely continuing off of the play that he showed us with Canada. I feel like he's done a good job at as you mentioned, not only just attacking the basket with more efficiency with his finishing, but also knowing when is the right time to attack and kick, which is probably something that he should have been doing for years at this point. RJ Barrett looks like he's coming out here to prove a point, especially with a lot, as I joked about earlier, with a lot of what Knicks fans were saying about him last year before his great tear in the playoffs. It seems that he's putting it all together now and looking like our most efficient piece when Julius and Jalen had the slow start before he got hurt. I think he's doing everything that he needs to be doing in that role. And I think the other thing too that we're not talking about enough is his defensive numbers. We were seeing those tweets come out right before the injury that he's up there right now with as far as the offensive percentages. I don't have that in front of me. I'm sure we can get that, but he was doing really good at protecting the perimeter for his position, especially with some of the matchups that he had in front of him before the injury. So basically, it's one of those things where we're so accustomed to seeing him start the season slow, and he's doing the complete opposite. And I'm just hoping that this is who he is as the season goes on. I hope it's not one of those things where he has this start and then fizzles down as the year goes on, or he starts to lose shots because now Julius starts to hit his shot or Jalen. I hope this is one of those things that ends up being who RJ Barrett is, because if we want to have that run that we were talking about and go past the second round in the playoffs, we need this version of RJ Barrett throughout the regular season and his playoff play. And he's just looking like a more complete player. And it's really refreshing being an RJ Barrett stan. It's really refreshing for sure.
Don't hide your stand-em. Don't hide your stand-em, CK.
Never, bro. Never. By the way, we talked about good games on Friday. Quentin Grimes. Just had to throw that out there. Go ahead. Continue. RJ Barrett. I'm just saying, we're talking about stand-em, you know what I mean? I'm here. Quentin Grimes present. You know what it is. All right, let's go.
I got your meme for the Quentin Grimes comments. Don't worry. I got it stashed somewhere. Look, I like the way that RJ started off the season, man. Absolutely. It's been very encouraging to see him be more consistent in the things that he's good at, right? Getting downhill. You want to see him passing out, dishing out to the perimeter. I think his defense has definitely been better than last season as well. So I like to see that. It's just the consistency. I want to see him come back. The consistency. The left knee injury is interesting. Definitely something we got to monitor moving forward, man. Because you just don't want it to get to any point where he's going to be missing more time due to a knee injury, because he's been very helpful in the first couple of games, and we need him, especially with Julius playing so poorly right now. We just need somebody else to supplement that scoring. And if it's not going to be Randle right now, That means you're going to need the combination of RJ quickly, and if Grimes can give you a good shooting night, or maybe it's Dante, that's what we need right now. Because as of right now, I can't just be solely on Brunson as we saw in the Bucks game, because that was enough. He dropped 45 points, kept us in the game, and we got some solid shooting from IQ and Grimes that night, but that wasn't enough. So that means we need somebody else who can be an efficient scorer. So I like what I see from RJ, man. I think we need him back. It'll be interesting against the matchup tomorrow. I wonder who's going to defend him. Whether this could be Kawhi, PG. It'll be interesting to see who defends RJ tomorrow.
Nah, Kawhi is going to keep Julius Randle in purgatory. Kawhi is staying on Julius Randle. I think it's going to be.
I'll say this: go listen to the Game of the Week preview where I talked with Wall, who's the beat reporter for the Athletic for the Clippers. He gave me some defensive lineups against different person. I'm not going to say it here because I think you should go out and go check the Game of the Week preview.
Yeah.
And I was just shocked. I was like, oh, well, Kawhi's going to be on Randall. He's like, maybe. I was like, what? I was like, maybe. I was like, who's he going to be guarding? He's like, and he gave me this whole interesting scenario. I was like, wow, that is just outside of Mitchell Robinson, the other four for the Clippers who they could be defending is just completely honestly. I was like, what is happening here? What's happening? But let's look at the week ahead, man. Let's look at the week ahead. And TM, if you could do me a favor, bro, put a poll in the chat. Should fans start cheering for Randall to help him play better? Yes or no? I need that. I need answers, man. I need it.
If there's more than a percentage, I'm gonna have
I'm not gonna reveal what just happened in Game of the Week preview. Come on, TM. You know I'm better than that. So put that poll though, TM. I need to see answers. It'll be interesting. We're just getting plethora.
Right. Can I vote more than once?
Make a freaking God. This is crazy. Oh man, chat's always on one. I love it. I truly love it. But let's look at the week ahead, man. Knicks these are the matches for the Knicks. They got the Clippers on Monday. So we're going to see the new look Clippers. James Harden will make his debut at Madison Square Garden. Shocker that he decided to choose MSG to be the game that he wants to go make the debut. Can we just have a day where it's just not the Knicks, man? That's just not the Knicks.
Yeah. Right. Hopefully that works in our favor. No chemistry. Got to figure it all out. Hopefully that works in our favor.
Hopefully it does. Next game will be on Wednesday, where the Knicks will face the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah.
Then the Knicks will have some days off, where they then will play the Charlotte Hornets on Sunday. And then that would be the first night of a back-to-back. And then the second night of the back-to-back, the New York Knicks are going up to Boston to face the Celtics, which I don't know why the NBA decided to hate on the Knicks to open up the season. This is the third back-to-back, and there's going to be one more back-to-back. There are 4 back-to-backs for the Knicks to open up this season. That is just cruel. That is cruel.
Insane.
Makes no sense. Yeah. So, CK.
Yeah.
What is your record prediction for this week?
It's only 3 games, though. Are we including that Boston game?
Yeah, I'm going to include the Boston game.
You want to include the Boston game?
Yeah.
Oof.
Because we're not going to. We're not. So I would say I would leave it at Sunday, but I don't know when Weekly is going to be thrown in, since that's a Sunday game and then a Monday game. I just want to make sure we're covering just in case.
No, you're thinking ahead. That's why you're hosting. You're doing a great job. Let me see. Okay, so that's Clippers, San Antonio, Charlotte, and Boston in back-to-backs. All right. Like I said, I'm going to stick to my guns. As you guys know, I am here in LA doing this, and my little brother is a diehard Clipper fan. Corey Maggetti's his favorite player. He's one of those guys, right? So for that reason, and for me hoping and believing, I know y'all are like, CK, but we said the same thing about Giannis and Dame. I'm gonna double down. I think we're gonna get this one tomorrow. I don't think it's gonna be easy, but I think we're able to get the best of them while they're figuring out lineups and figuring out where Harden fits, figuring out where PJ fits. I think that this is gonna be a turnaround game for us and hopefully for Randall. So give me the one. San Antonio is going to be tough. San Antonio loves to have close games all season long so far. They have had close games borderline overtime. I think they went to overtime tonight against Toronto. That's what they do. So I think that game is that's going to be the trend. But they're still young. They're still young. I think Mitchell Robinson puts Wemby in purgatory as well. So give me 2. All right. So that being said, I gave us those 2 wins because I think we're going to finish out 2-2. Charlotte, I feel like they've been an anomaly with how they've been playing. They've been playing really fast. Their young guys are putting it together. For whatever reason, Gordon Hayward is playing good basketball. Forgot he was on the team still because I was so excited about Brandon Miller. But Charlotte looks okay, and I feel like that their pace might we might get messed up with their pace. I think Charlotte gets us, and then with the back-to-back, I just don't trust us in back-to-backs until the Knicks give me a reason to trust us. So give me 2-2. Give me give me the Western Conference games. I know that's a crazy thing to say, but give me the Western Conference games, and then I think we unfortunately dropped the back-to-back.
Chat, let me know your record as well. I see some we got 2-2, 1-3. I need to know your answers as well. I'm gonna go 2-2 as well, but not the same 2-2 that you got. I actually don't think that the Knicks are gonna defeat the Clippers. I think the Clippers are they're
just too
talented.
good.
I just think they're too talented, man. I think that you can just still figure it all out. You got a Finals MVP in Kawhi Leonard. You got 2 MVPs.
I accidentally put yes in the poll. That was why did you put the no first and the yes second? Why did you do that? Why did you do that? Who did this? Who am I blaming right now? Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh my God.
Go talk to TM. TM's the one that organized the poll chat.
Anyways, yeah, you think the Clippers are better than us? Yep, I get it. Go ahead.
Yeah, look, man. You got Finals MVP in Kawhi Leonard. I know you got PG, who's been on a tear right now to start the season. And you got 2 former MVPs in James Harden and Russell Westbrook, even though they're not in their MVP modes as they were when they won it. They're still talented players, man. They're still guys you gotta respect. A
lot of cooks, Alex.
It's a lot of cooks.
A lot of cooks, man.
I agree, but I still think that you know what? It's just a lot of talent, and I think it's a lot of talent that the Knicks are not ready for. I thought y'all. Look. I cannot believe. CP told you to pack your bags.
It's been real. I enjoyed it. You know what I mean? I'll see y'all.
Look, I gotta see it, man. I gotta see the Knicks defeat the Clippers in order to believe it. I just don't think it's gonna happen tomorrow.
Okay. That's fair.
Even though actually, you know what?
Have some fun, man. What? What?
You know what? I'm gonna say yes because guess what? I did choose him on Game of the Week preview, but I can't go into Game of the Week preview saying no, and come out here saying no. So I'm gonna choose. Yeah. I'm gonna choose it.
Same energy. That's right. All right.
Okay. I gotta keep that same energy.
There we go. Yeah.
Look,
okay,
man.
All right.
It's
so does that mean you're going 3-1 then?
Huh?
Are you going 3-1 then? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm still gonna go 2-2, but I'm just gonna
moving games.
I'm just gonna swap it up.
Okay.
I think that we will defeat. San Antonio is interesting because they beat Kevin Durant, man, and Devin Booker. That's tough. That's tough. Without Devin Vassell too.
They're an interesting team.
Yikes! Do I believe in the young Spurs, or do I believe in the Knicks that are having a rough shooting?
That is the Mitchell Robinson game. So do you believe in Mitchell Robinson's defense?
Is it actually going to be Mitchell Robinson defending him? Because they also got Zach Collins out there. Are they going to put Randle on Zach Collins?
If they put Julius Randle on Victor Wembanyama, Alex, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. Don't even put that energy out there. Yes, Julius can guard Zach just fine. I'll be surprised if Tom Thibodeau does not have Mitchell Robinson on Victor Wembanyama.
I just had to throw it out there. CK. Yeah, there we go. There's the warden himself, Mitchell Robinson on screen. There we go.
Yeah.
It makes too much sense, but I just had to throw it out there. Man. Well, if we're talking about stretch bigs, man, he's a stretch big. So if Mitch has problems with stretch big,
he does. That's true.
I'm gonna give it to San Antonio. I'm gonna say that we get the first win on the back-to-back against Charlotte.
Okay.
and then we lose to Boston. So I'm going 2-2 as well.
Okay.
That's where I'm going, man. That's where I'm going with this.
To be completely honest with you, that was my original 2-2 is the one you just picked, but I switched it up. I believe in us stomping that Victor Wembanyama craze, and we going and win these first 2 games. So I like your prediction is what I'm saying.
Wemby is
he's nice.
He's looking nice, bro.
He's nice.
He is looking nice. That's the fact that you beat Kevin Durant and the Suns being down.
Yeah.
And then you come back and then you smoke them for most of the game. And then you have Wemby close out. That's tough. That's tough, man.
Kevin Durant has never looked so short in his entire life. It's crazy.
Right?
Crazy. Man.
Remember you had the whole image for when he was on Team USA and it was him and next to Boogie Cousins and it's like, wait a minute. Katie's listed at 6'9". That's small. And Boogie's listed at 6'10". This makes no sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that's where I'm gonna go with this. So I think this is a good place to wrap it up. Yeah. Well, thank you all for tuning in for another Knicks Weekly episode 77. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to hit the like button. Hit that thumbs up button for your boys. Make sure to share all these videos, friends, family, dogs, cats, whatever it may be. Also, if you can't catch the live shows, you can find us on any audio listening platform, Apple, Spotify, you name the platform, we're there. Make sure to check out KnicksFanTV.com. Make sure to support our sponsor, BetUS. Just hit the link in the video description to get a match of up to 125%. And then you can also check out KnicksFanTV.com if I didn't already say that. Support Manscaped. Use the promo code KFTV. Get that 20%. Get that 20% off. Free shipping. And yeah, man. There we go. That's all we got.
Get this tweet off of the screen.
Let's see what the poll says. We got 72. Got 72 votes.
I don't want to see it.
67% said no.
And the crowd has gone silent. Certainly disappointed.
It should be higher than that.
30 points.
But I messed it up on accident.
It's all good. It's all good. All right, Knicks. Salute to Knicks Nation. Salute to the franchise channel members. Thank you all for tuning in. Salute to all the mods for doing such a great job today. We'll catch you next time later this week for post game tomorrow when the Knicks face the LA Clippers. All right, everyone. We out.